Hello, and welcome to Snapped Off, the Marvel Snap podcast. Yeah, that's right. We changed it up. My name's Ian, and with me always, who've always been here with this Marvel Snap podcast, is Jay.
All right, so I'm running a mobile deck. It's really, really good.
And John.
I snap every goddamn time.
Yeah, so I just have one question. What's Snapenin?
Oh, God damn it. See?
And that's the name of the podcast.
This was the danger.
No, we gotta go back.
This was the danger of letting him host.
Start over again.
I told everybody.
Welcome to What's Snapenin. My name's Ian. It's the Marvel Snap podcast that you all know and love. 80 episodes in, here we are with Jay and John.
Am I having a stroke?
So no, I've been playing Marvel Snap.
It was like really quiet for a second. And I was like, am I having a stroke? And then it got really quiet. And I was like, wait, did I have a stroke? It set in for a second.
Yeah, I wanted it to just kind of sit there. You had to.
I didn't like that.
You had to face your own morality. It makes for good podcast energy.
Do you say faces morality?
Yeah. Mortality as well.
Just all that. All of it.
Am I a good person if I play Ultron? The answer is no.
No.
But do it anyway.
I have so many decks. I just keep building decks. And then it's like I forget about the old one. I was like, it was so good. And then I build a different deck. And I'm like, oh, this one's really good. And I figure out how it works. And then I never go back.
Yeah.
I go back sometimes. I switch up, like, depending on, like, what the missions are. Because some of the decks will just be like, play one drops. And I'm like, whoop, this deck doesn't have any of those. Time to go back to the other deck.
Yeah. Like, I kind of, like, theme mine out. I'll be like, okay, this is, like, a destruction deck. And then this one's, like adding card deck. This one's a removing card deck. This one's like movement.
Yeah, I mean, most of the decks are just around one mechanic because they're so small. At least that's how I always build them.
Yeah.
The
most recent was I was trying to build one around the collector, and then I found out that was a bad idea. Just because I'm like, well, I didn't get the collector, so now what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah, those are the ones that don't land. Is the ones where it's like you build around one card and you're like, well, I didn't draw it. Whoops.
Damn it. I mean, I had a fallback of Devil, Dinosaur, and Moon Girl. So, I mean, There was something there, but... Yeah.
I mean, I've been clean for like 2 months now.
Yeah, you left. So, John and I don't know about you, Jay. Were you in on the beta, or did you get in once it released?
No, I had to wait until it released. I didn't end up getting in.
Oh, how'd you even get on this podcast then?
Retroactively suck it.
Yep, it sucked.
Yeah, John and I were in on the beta, and I was having fun with it. I even stopped for a little bit right before it came out. I didn't know when it was actually releasing, but I had stopped for I think 3 or 4 weeks, probably about a month, because it was like I didn't know enough people that were in the beta, so I kind of was just like, I was having these fun experiences, but I couldn't tell anyone about it, right? Like, I was telling my coworker, and they had the normal amount of enthusiasm, but they didn't really understand all the words I was saying, so it didn't really land. But then once it came out, I was like, oh, everyone's talking about this again, time to go back in, and then I've been back since then.
I just didn't do the second part.
Yeah.
It's easy.
I have this problem with the game.
I play it all the time now.
Yeah, same. You know, it's such an easy game to just pick up and drop. It's so simple. It's a great idea. I mean, they did a great job with it. And the only thing that and this is a personal problem, I just have trouble upgrading base cards. I just hate to do it. I'm like, I know as soon as I upgrade a base card, I'm going to get a cool variant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have like 70 cards waiting to be upgraded.
Oh my God.
Just sitting there. Like, I have so much. Like, I'm constantly maxed out, and then when I'm maxed out, I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go in and upgrade one completely.
I mean, or just don't, because it doesn't do anything.
No, but you have to. You have to make the number go up.
No, you don't.
I mean, it changes the look of the card, and it's fine, I guess. You know,
yeah,
don't doesn't do anything for in game.
Beefy, don't you want Colossus' beefy arms just busting out of that frame?
No.
Well, you're wrong.
No,
everyone disagrees with you.
Not everyone. I'm sure there's someone out there.
Not everyone. It's like, I prefer small Colossus.
Yeah, I like non-swole Colossus. I don't want to feel
Colossus when he's in human form.
I don't need to be intimidated by 3D cards in an app.
That's not the app for you then.
Yeah. No, I found that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the last episode of Snapped Off What's Snapenin, the Marvel Snap podcast. We're
signing off. Bye.
That was my go-to. That was what I had.
That was your opener?
Nice. Yeah, that was my opener.
Well, since we're on comics, I wrote one down today. I went to the comic shop.
Based on comics? What?
Yeah, exactly. That was what I was going to ask.
Movies I saw.
Do you guys like go to are you guys avid comic readers? Do you just kind of like catch up? Are you,
I mean,
a wiki reader, skimmer?
yeah. I mean, sometimes I go in and out of it. When I have time, I love to read them, and I get to read them for research from time to time. But most of it's just wikis, just like movies and everything else. I'm the worst kind of person.
Yeah. Yeah. You read text about a visual medium and you're like, I understand this.
Listen, I grew up reading comics that were like 8 words issue, and I could pound through like 50 comics in an hour.
He's talking about Berserker.
And I picked up, what was I reading? One of the Green Lantern series with like the birth of the Yellow Lanterns, I think. Or the birth of the Red Lanterns. They're the angry ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the guy who created the Red Lanterns, the one that like barfs fire lava stuff. It was like 18 pages of exposition about how mad he was. And I was like, why are we doing this? Like, can't you can show me with one panel him being mad. I don't need.
But he's so mad.
But he's so mad
that he replaces heart with rage.
The writer and the artist are like, we really got carried away with this one.
I was like, why? Like, I want to read comics quickly. I don't need 8 million.
He just didn't get to the part where they introduced Dexstar, the cat who's really mad, and the ring is on its tail.
No, I fell asleep 500 times just trying to read out why he was forming the Red Lantern Corps. And not like just I'm so angry. Here's my vow. I'm a Red Lantern. I'm gonna kill stuff. Here's the cat. Here's the cat that you care about.
Yeah. Before moving forward, which I think is what I wanted, was this conversation is going to lead me to. I do want to answer Jay's question, which is like, yes, I read comics. When I lived in Ohio, I had like a kind of a really aggressive pull list from our local shop. But once I moved here, like there's not actually as many comic shops here as I thought there would be in like the Frisco area. There's like one main one, and it's like this big one. But I never feel the urge to like go out there and like make a pull list or anything. But I want to find maybe a smaller one somewhere and just like make a pull list there. So like when I go in there, they're like, hey, I got your pull list. And I'll be like, my name is Ian. Look me up. I'm on the list. Let me in.
I mean, that's what I like about it. When I first moved here, a comic shop was almost the first place that I went. Like almost literally, because it was across the street from the university I was going to. And they had like a bar in the back. And so it was kind of an interesting place. But after a while, I was like, I'm not a big fan of this one. And another one opened across town. And its name was Banff. They lured me over with Nightcrawler because he's my favorite. And yeah, I've been going there ever since. They changed their name to Blackbird Comics just to avoid... there was some legality thing that they were working at. I'm not sure what it was.
Just because, I mean, they already got you, right? Like that.
Yeah, no, they had already got me. They were safe to change the name. I was resistant, I will say. But it was really nice because it was a brand new business. So when you went in there, they were like, oh, cool. Jay's here. And they knew you and things like that. And one of the guys actually, he went on to start writing comics himself. He actually just left, sold his part of the business and left that store. And he writes a really good comic. He writes a portion of a really good comic that I like called Video Witch. And then he also writes Gut Ghost, which is really interesting.
Of course.
So, shameless plug for my friend Enzo. Go look up Gut Ghost.
Please tell me it's about a ghost that lives in someone's tummy.
No, it's a ghost that has guts spilling out the bottom half of it, and he's kind of a dick.
Oh, I thought it was like a ghost that had like IBS. Like,
it'd be like
no.
Ian as a ghost.
Ooh,
Ian as a ghost.
My tummy hurts.
Ooh, I ate something that's not water flavored.
Right before that ghost died, it had like Chipotle. It had a really rough meal, and so its gut was feeling really bad, and then it died, and so it's just that eternally.
Oh god, that'd be terrible.
Oh, moderately uncomfortable.
Ian's like, this is hell.
The SEO for Video Witch is very bad because when I Google it, it's a lot of things that aren't a comic book.
Oh yeah. No, it's super small. Like it's an indie print from like the Orlando area.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like Gut Ghost shows up right away. Video Witch, just not a good phrase to search for.
Oh,
yeah. You got to do the new trend in comics,
Ghost.
which is just the name of the comic is just an entire sentence. Something is killing the children. That's the name of it.
this comment's about this thing.
Yeah.
I did find out
Yeah,
how to draw a witch tutorial video. Is that it?
That's not it. Nope. I'll probably have to look around and find that one for you.
Mariah Carey, From Witch to Christmas. That's not it.
Nope.
Weird.
That doesn't sound right.
We dare not invoke her name.
Rob Zombie,
season is
American
upon
Witch
us.
video.
We have a week left.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
fighting.
no, that one is it. Yeah, it was the Rob Zombie one.
Okay. I'm fighting the fight to not decorate the house before the end of this week because Tara very much wants to decorating today. Can we just get through Thanksgiving, please?
I was told today where our Christmas tree is going, and I have two minds about it. One, I don't necessarily care about Christmas trees or Christmassy things, but two, it's a black Christmas tree, so I'm like, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, leave that up all year.
Great.
Why did you take it down? Decorate it for other
we
holidays.
haven't put it up yet.
Oh, this is the first time.
Yeah, one of her coworkers got her this black Christmas tree as a gift, I think last year. And so like starting this year will be the first year that we use it. So then it might just stay up forever. Who knows?
Yeah, I'd leave it up.
Oh, random. So I'm gonna have to find the picture of this and send it in our chat. But you ever just like go to a store and you just find something and you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna buy that. This is weird and I need to own it. I did that over after Halloween. We went to Hobby Lobby.
Actually, it was Joanne's. Fuck Hobby Lobby.
And they have like, oh no, a holiday just happened. Here's all the sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I did that. I had to vamp for a minute because boy, I took a lot of pictures of the cats. There it is.
Well, I mean, how else were you going to get those photos of the cats on Hive? You know what I mean?
Right, fair.
Yeah, put them on your Mastodon
There it
account.
is.
So while you're looking for that, I found Dut Ghost, and I was looking at some other titles by the publisher of that. They have some real, and I feel like they make comics that are just specifically meant for you. One of them is called Metal Shark Bro.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
You got me. You got me 3 out of 3.
Yeah, Assassin and Son. That's a real good title,
Oh man, the art from Metal Shark Bro looks rad.
right?
It looks really good. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, there's a.
You wouldn't
bunch
think
of-
that its slippery skin would help him be a guitarist, but here we are.
Yeah.
He perseveres. So what I bought from
Joanne's.
was a chromatic unicorn skull.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, well, I'm buying that.
Yeah,
That's a done
That's
deal.
me, everybody.
that's real good.
Don't need any Christmas presents. Metal unicorn skull.
Beautiful.
Its jaw opens and closes. So if you are my daughter, you can run around making it bark for some reason.
Uh-huh.
Sure, like unicorn, obviously barking.
I mean,
We haven't confirmed what noise it makes. You know?
That's fair.
when I think of the list of features I want in a chromatic unicorn skull, opening jaw is one of them.
Yeah, for sure. And now I guess I have to write a comic about it and sell it to these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, chromatic unicorn skull is just a comic name now.
Make him play bass.
Oh, they haven't.
Oh, great. Yeah, we get the crossover.
Yeah.
I kind of want this now. This sounds cool. You know?
We accidentally NID'd.
I'm trying to think of how they fight crime too, but I don't know.
And when they shred.
Yeah. Have you read Murder Falcon? I know John has, right? John, did you ever finish
Yeah.
Murder Falcon?
I haven't read it.
Yeah, I did.
Murder Falcon is amazing. It's one of my favorite comics of all time and is very much in the same vein of Metal Shark Bro, but with an unimaginable amount of heart. Like, this comic has like so much heart in it in like this 8-issue thing. Like, it was 100% my jam, and then it inhabited my soul after I read it. Like, it was so good and so well written. It is by Daniel Warren Johnson, who previously had done, I guess not previously, but since then he's done Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, and he did the Beta Ray Thor, Beta Ray Bill miniseries. Amazing art. His art is 100% my shit. It is just that like chaos and hard lines style that I love in comics. It is one of my favorite aesthetics, and yeah, it's very, very good. But Murder Falcon, that's what the, it'll fit in that, has to fit in that vein, has to be. We got to give Metal Unicorn Skull just that heart.
Oh yeah. Hey Ian, can you read me the description of that comic that I just sent in the chat? I don't want you to do a dramatic reading.
Mullet Cop. After a near-death experience, Fred, a mall cop, goes undercover as a manager at an all-you-can-eat buffet with the help of his coworkers and supercomputer/microwave called MIT, Mall Industries 2000. He takes on gangs and corporate thugs. This series is episodic, with Fred and his coworkers taking off Diff. That's where the description ended for me. Sorry, I'd have to click the link to finish.
Yeah, you don't.
No,
you
I
don't have
understand.
to do that.
You got it.
Okay, good.
Now, my question is, what's with the O? Why does it look like that?
That's a butthole.
Exactly. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I think you got
That's
it.
where he's gonna shoot you.
Yep, he did it.
I feel like a lot of their comments are just adjective, noun, the comic.
Yeah. So I mean, we're running into a theme here. You have Metal Shark Bro, you have Mullet Cop, you have Sergeant Werewolf,
Ooh.
Ninja Nuns.
Oh, that one's gonna be good.
You're smashing two things together, and you're coming up with the story later. It's very much our kind of ideas.
Yeah. I think that's why we're so into it.
Yeah.
We're like, this is great. This is
Kindred spirits.
Yeah. Couldn't have asked for anything more.
Stabbity Ever After is a really good title.
That's a good title. Now I'm just looking through.
We Don't Kill
Like,
Spiders.
what ridiculous stuff can I buy?
We don't kill spiders. Yeah. That's... See, you just get you just get statements. A lot of these new comic books are just giving you statements now. That is their as names. That doesn't mean there's some good ones. I Hate This Place. That's the name of a comic now.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's an Image comic. Which Image is really like if you're not in the know on comic books, Image comics are all creator owned, which means that the writer and the artist both have full rights to the comic. Image just publishes it, and they get a split of the profits that come from it. So Image was actually created by was it 7 of the biggest people in the industry at the time?
It was
Todd McFarlane was one of them.
Maybe Jim
Lee originally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they decided to make a comics company to kind of not necessarily rival Marvel and DC, but a comics company that would put the power back into the hands of the creators, which I think is fantastic. And I always look for Image. Some Image comics are my favorite comics of all time. Like you have Saga, right? Like that's one of the best comics of all time. All the Rick Remender stuff that they did, like Black Science and the one about the school, which my brain is not telling me. I can look around. I can turn around.
The Assassins.
Yeah, the school, the assassin school, the class. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Wayward was Image.
Wayward, yeah. Skull Kickers, obviously one of my favorites.
Yeah. By
our friend Jim Zub.
Good old Jim Zub.
God, one of these times I forgot. I keep having to tell. I need to tell the story of. Well, I guess this is a combination story of you and I, John, of my hardcover volume 1 of Skull Kickers that I have because of you.
You should tell that story. This is the podcast for us to tell dumb stories.
Yeah.
It is. Yep, this is the one.
So John had started working on a board game project, and he was like, you should read this comic. It's called Wayward. It's awesome. And I hadn't heard about it yet. And eventually, I didn't look it up right away, but when I did look it up, I realized that it was written by Jim Zub. And at the time, the only way that I knew Jim Zub was that he was the writer of Skull Kickers, which was one of my favorite comic books of all time to this day. Like it is, I think his description of it was D&D by way of Deadpool, which this was like early 2000s, so it was before any of those words were as popular as they are now, and it was fantastic. I loved it. It was hilarious, but also the story was really compelling. And I told John, I was like, holy shit, you're making a game based on a comic by Jim Zub. Like, I'm so jealous of you at this moment. This is unbelievable. I hate you so much. This is awesome. And then fast forward, John gets the opportunity to go to, was it Jim Zub's house, right?
Yeah, I got to hang out with him for the day and talk over some ideas.
Yeah, because you were in Toronto at the time, the Canadian home of some of our friends, and also Jim Zub. And yeah, so you got to hang out with him, and then all of a sudden the next time I see you, you hand me this book. And it is the volume 1 of Skullkicker, and it's a hardcover edition, which I don't think they released. I think it was like a very special edition thing that, you know, only if you're Jim Zub do you have this. And you hand it to me, and inside it was signed by Jim Zub, and it said Ian, and then a dash, and then it said suck it, and then signature by Jim Zub.
Got him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got me real good. I was like, I will treasure this.
So yeah, it's in a glass case in his house, and
are you kidding me? He sleeps there.
He has a whole room dedicated to it. It's the crown jewel of the room. His daughter sleeps on the couch.
Presents
so,
go under his copy of Skull Kickers.
She's like, can I go back in my room? And you're like, no.
And eventually I did meet Jim Zub later on, and he is just one of the nicest people, and I believe he did that under duress. Like, he was like, I don't want to be mean, I don't know this person, you know.
No, he thought it was hilarious.
Oh, great. Yeah, he's always like, no, it's you know it's not that. I wasn't being mean about it.
No, I told him it wasn't mean. Like, there was no mean intention. It was funny.
No, it was excellent. That's my kind of one-upsmanship. Like, here, I did this really nice thing for you. You deal with it.
Is that where our tradition of hiding suckets in places came from? Because
probably.
That's really lived a long time.
Yeah, especially with your board game collection, it is eternal at this point.
I'm sure there's a lot that I haven't found.
There's probably ones from games that you've sold that other people have found.
Oh, I hope so.
Like, oh, god damn it, he got me.
I think one of my favorites was in what's the pirate board game? Not Long John Silver. That's not it. Captain.
Oh, yeah. What is that stupid?
Plunder's
Captain's
the one coming to mind, but
Black
Treasure Island.
Oh, I can't remember the name of the game, but it's a game.
Treasure Island.
Yeah, it is Treasure Island. You're right. Every component in the game is dry erase, and one person is Blackbeard, and all the others are pirates trying to find his treasure. And at certain points in the game, they dig for treasure, and you have this like little cardboard chest that you put a token in and then hand it to them so they see if they found the treasure or gotten something out. But since all the components are dry erase, I would write messages on the inside of the chest, so when they opened it up and failed to win the game, I'd usually just tell Ian to suck it most of the time. But
yeah, it's just opening a tiny replica chest. On the inside, there's just a token that says "suck it," and the game continues.
Should have learned it in other languages.
That would be good.
That would have been funny.
No. I mean, a T-shirt would just suck it, but in as many different languages as you can.
Sounds like a Christmas present.
You can find it on our shop here in the coming months.
Oh yeah, get that merch drop.
Yeah, why not? We get one person in that shirt. That's not us. You know what I mean? That's a win.
Yeah,
that's a big win.
Tick.
Big day.
Oh, speaking of aggressive acts of kindness, I am reminded of a story featuring the late and great Kevin Conroy. One of the times I got to do the aggressive act of kindness to someone was for our mutual friend Michael Gugliano. He had co-designed a game based on Batman the Animated Series, and it's a super fun like co-op game where you're like climbing on these like tops of buildings and you're beating up thugs and everything. and I'd had a copy of the game for a while, and I had found out one of my other friends had the opportunity. He was going to meet Kevin Conroy, and was like, anyone that wants anything signed, just let me know, and like send me the thing. So I sent him the rule book for the Batman the Animated Series. Gotham Under Siege is the full title for the game, and I was like, oh, if you can get Kevin Conroy to sign this, I will give it to Michael and basically just tell him to suck it in an aggressive act of kindness. So that's exactly what happened. Like, he met Kevin Conroy. Apparently Kevin Conroy had never signed like a rule book before. That was like the first time he'd ever signed a rule book for any of the things, which there's been a few games based on the Batman the Animated Series. So I thought that was kind of novel. And then at QsCon, which I think, John, we had talked about in a previous episode, is a convention in Syracuse that is run by Michael. I gave it to him at the start of our panel that we had at the time, and he was ecstatic, and I got to be like, yeah, I did a nice thing for you, suck it. But in the most classic Funbalanced way, it kind of backfired, because now I don't have a rule book for my copy of the game, so I haven't been able to play it since.
Nice.
That checks out.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, dang it. I even got the expansion and everything. I have the expansion rule book. I don't have the regular rule book.
Oh my.
You're just sitting around like, I think you gotta... No, that's not right.
I'll just make it up. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminded me of that with the sad news of Kevin Conroy passing away. Which is a bummer, because that was... Batman the Animated Series not only like inspired my love of comics, but like my lifelong obsession with Batman. Like, I have a lot of comics, but as many comics as I have is as many Batman comics as I have. You know what I mean? Like, it is almost, if you take away the Batman comics,
wait.
basically cut my collection in half.
That made it sound like every comic you have is a Batman comic.
I draw Batman on the backs of panels in every single one.
You just cover up every character with a Batman mask.
Yeah.
Spider-Man gets real confusing. You just cross out Spider and write Bat above it.
Yeah.
Yep. I think your Batman for me is Ninja Turtles. Like, that's my comic that I've collected the majority of my life. And I mean, I have a pretty cool story. At Gym City Comic-Con, I brought the new run that they were doing at the time of the Ninja Turtles in hopes of getting Kevin Eastman to sign it. And when I got there, I mean, not only did he sign it, which was really cool, his kid was there drawing Ninja Turtles and trying to sell them to people.
Oh, nice.
Just like a 6-year-old drawing Ninja Turtles like hastily because he watches his dad. His dad drew one quickly on my book as well. And Kevin's like, yeah, you don't have to buy one or anything. I was like, no. And I gave the kid like $20 and he drew a Ninja Turtle for me, a full body Ninja Turtle, which was pretty cool. And then Kevin invited us to a Q&A after, which was kind of neat, just to kind of listen to him like riff about like where they are currently with Ninja Turtles and how long it's been around.
Well, I wasn't asking you questions.
He wasn't asking me questions.
It wasn't a Q&A for you.
No,
yeah, no, that didn't happen. I see how it could be misconstrued in the way that I said it, though.
He put you on the panel. He was so impressed.
He's like, so how did you get that mustache? And I'm like, shit, you're really putting me on the spot here, Kevin. But
didn't like it at first, but it grew on me.
Oh, no.
God damn it. You fell backwards into that one. Be honest.
Yeah, that was...
You did none of the heavy lifting on that joke, and it's embarrassing for all of us.
But no, I mean, that was just a kind of cool day. Like, I don't know, it turned into, I'm just going to go to this little, like, Dayton Comic-Con, and it turned into, like, an entire day of Ninja Turtles and then eating hot wings at a pretty cool place.
With Kevin Eastman or no?
No, not with Kevin Eastman. Yeah, that would have been cool too. But I kind of missed that hot wings place. Quaker Steak and Lube.
Oh yeah, they got those all around here.
Yeah. Oh man, really?
Yeah.
Never seen any around here, but yeah, they're a chain.
Fort Wayne in Pennsylvania.
You
Get the bang bang shrimp.
I feel like getting anything there is sort of like, who went there the first time? You know what I mean? Like Quaker Steak and Lube, and you go there and be like, I expect food from this experience.
Someone that wanted an oil change and got real confused.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it started as. You guys were really not great at servicing cars.
Guess I'm having wings.
I'm pretty good at making chicken wings. What do you think? That does sound like an Ohio thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just giving up on your dream and then being too lazy to change the name.
Oh, we were talking about comics. One of the things that I wanted to mention was like the love-hate relationship I have for comics. It is, I will say, mostly love. 90% of the time it's love. My 10% of hate for comics comes from when they change creative teams on a book that I really am liking, and it's just not as good afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
hit me
happened
with an example.
so many times. So an example for specifically you, Jay. This is an example that's going to like zone right into your brain. Is I think it was like Uncanny X-Men. I forget what it was. It might have been a new X-Men book, but the first arc was about the search for Nightcrawler. If you read that,
Oh, it was so good.
yeah, it was amazing. So the team from the X Mansion, which I think had kind of Beast in a really significant role, and you also
it was when he was devolving, right? And I think Kitty Pryde was had taken over for Professor X at the time too.
Okay.
I thought she was
Right.
headmaster.
Yeah, so you had all this going on, but like inside of that, there's like these little bamflings are showing up, and Nightcrawler has been dead for a while, and so all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe we can use these to, science-y X-Men stuff, get to Nightcrawler. Turns out he's in hell. Not a great start, and hell is currently, I think, being ruled by his father in a pirate ship, who's a pirate now.
Oh yeah. Was that
all of this
the quest? The quest for Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, it is so good. That is like the first like 5 or 6 issues of this run, and then the comic just kind of like, it just doesn't know where to go from there. Like it just kind of flounders around for the next arc or two, and I think it just kind of fizzles out after that. But it was like such a solid first run, and that happens so many times, and then like the creative team just gets yoinked to do something else, but they still have issues left on the book, so they just give it to somebody else. And sometimes that's the saving grace of a comic. Like I always tend to like, when a creative team changes, I don't necessarily leave the book, because sometimes you get Tom King coming in after Scott Snyder on Batman, and it's just sort of like, we thought we knew how far you could hit the home run, and then Tom King came in and be like, nah, motherfucker, this thing goes farther, and just knocks it out of a second park that you didn't even know was there.
Yeah, that really has to be like a touch and go thing. I noticed the last couple summers in Marvel, because I also usually get like X-Men ongoing.
Scott or Alex?
They'll do. Wait, what?
You said the last couple summers. It's
yep, son of a bitch. No, they've been doing like they'll take like 4 or 5 books and they'll kind of weave them all together, and they're all like by different people, but it'll be like X-Force and then the ongoing X-Men, which will just continue, into the 900s or whatever they're on. But the side shots, they'll do like the Amazing Nightcrawler, and they'll do like a 6 shot.
Oh, that's fun.
And I wonder if I think it was like 2 summers ago, they did, I think 5 different books that kind of bled into the main. And the lead-in was the House of X and the Power of X. And they had like fallen angels, and they had New Mutants, and everything was kind of wrapped up in this thing. And there's like a specific reading order. And I wonder if that kind of comes down to like, hey, let's think of a good idea that's going to keep, these people that are going to be here, probably only for 6 books or whatever. Let's get them something from beginning to end as well this summer, keeping our readers really like engaged, and have it bleed into what we've got going on in the main story. And I've noticed they've done that. Like they did it this summer as well. So I wonder if that's kind of the idea behind it, so they don't run into that where it just falls off.
Too, like all those event books too. I feel like when you have like those reading orders, you're like you read this one and then you read this one and this one, and then like I feel like it almost hurts the comic if those are all hit and miss. You know what I mean? Like Dark Knight's Metal had a lot of tie-ins, like both of them, Dark Knight's Metal and then Dark Knight's Death Metal. Both of them had a bunch of tie-ins, and I read all of them for both of them because if you didn't think that you could be any more my shit, Dark Knight's Metal is 100% my shit. It's Batman, but he has axes. Like, what else do you want from me? I don't know what else you can give me, but that was great. But like some of the tie-ins were just like it was real up and down, hit or miss, and it kind of like I don't know. It feels like it takes the level of the entire thing down when those tie-ins aren't as good. It's the main, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you, and I don't know. I'm usually pleased when I read a comic. You know, I'm definitely easy to please when it comes to comic books. I already like these characters. I just like to see what they're doing. And during that Q&A that I went to for the Kevin Eastman thing,
the one you were on with Kevin.
Yeah, the one I was on with Kevin. Well, he did say something that was like really kind of I don't want to say eye-opening. It was insightful. It just gave me a little bit of like perspective.
Was it Cowabunga?
He was asked about where Ninja Turtles currently were, and it was, you know, they were with Nickelodeon. They had not the newest show, but the show before that, where they were still kind of, it was where they kind of departed from the traditional look of the Ninja Turtles.
The CGI one with like the chunky turtles?
No, they weren't chunky. It was the Nickelodeon ongoing show right around 2012.
Yeah, like,
they weren't super chunky.
Like where they're kind of blocky.
Yeah, they were definitely blocky. Yeah.
That's what I meant by chunky. Sorry, I didn't mean like fat Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, no, I immediately went to that like 2003, where they were like thick Ninja Turtles. But he's like, what do you know, they're like, what do you think of where it's at currently? And there was some weird stuff going on. They had like something like he was voicing a character named Ice Cream Kitty, and it was a very weird show. It was going to a weird place, and his thing was like, you know, I'm just really happy that it's still interesting to people.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me, because, you know, it was just seriously two people that were like writing small comics, and then one person drew something and showed the other person, and then that person drew it again to one up them, and it was a back and forth, like seeing who can make the most ridiculous thing. They both loved Daredevil, and they're like, well, what if it was Daredevil, but each, you know, there were 4 of them, and they each had different weapons, and they were turtles and not blind. So it's like a lot of like weird back and forth. But he's like, you know, I'm really, really happy that people are just, you know, still interested in it at all. And if we can get like new people interested in it, that's super interesting to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's, again, still going. And I was like, that's a good point. So I think that kind of skewed the way that I like read comics. Like, I can read a comic and I can be like, oh man, that writing was terrible, or like, dang, that didn't look good. But I'm still not like, you know, upset.
Taken out of it.
I feel like this is the
like.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know who didn't like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Shredder.
Julia's dad. He apparently, so this is a story that he tells of regret and shame. He went into a comic shop, you know, late 80s, early 90s, and he saw this weird comic on the shelf, picked it up, looked at it, and was like, this is stupid, and put it back down. And that comic was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1.
Whoops.
Didn't buy it. Full of regret now.
Oh, that's so sad.
It was a phenomenon. You know, at the time, I could see.
Well, I mean, it wasn't at first. It took it a little while to become a phenomenon.
Right. I mean, it took a little bit, but I could see. I know we all lived that, you know, that time, and I can't say that was his time that he was living at, you know, at that moment.
I assume he was alive because he was in the comic book store looking at comics.
Can't confirm.
Can't confirm, but you know, you have those moments where you're like, oh, that's not for me. Like, I'm a little too edgy for that, or that's too kiddie for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even these days when I go into when I go into my comic shop, I'll see stuff and I'm like, I can look at it and I can go, I know that's probably not for me. Like, I could probably read it and still enjoy it, but I'm not going to spend money on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see where he's coming from with that.
Yeah.
Like, looking
yeah,
at
it was just that case of like, right there in that moment, you know,
like, why the hell would they?
Copies of the first issue that were out. I think it was like 5,000 or less. Like, it was such a small print run of the first issue, because again, it was just this thing they were doing is like in response to Daredevil, like you said, and all these other like super serious ninja types at the time. And yeah, it's just, I think that comic's worth $100,000 now, I think.
Oh, well, yeah, let's look.
Maybe more. Who knows?
So I can one up that. With a personal experience that's even more horrifying.
Holy,
because
I looked up one on Amazon, or on eBay. Sorry, it's Jesus.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much this one's worth. But my mom used to garage sale all the time when I was a kid, and I loved reading, so she'd buy comic books all the time at like old garage sales and stuff, and just give them to me when I was like 4 and 5, even before I was reading. And I was going through a trunk of old stuff one time and going through some of the comic books, and I find a comic book without a cover, and like the first page is ripped in half, but the information on the bottom of the page is still there. And you know, I'm flipping through, and I'm like, man, this looks real familiar. And I had like colored on the pages and written all over it, and just beaten to hell. It was an issue of X-Men #2.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if I have a story that's quite like that, but I do have a book that I actually still have to this day, and I don't know why I liked it so much, but it seemed important. But it was the wedding of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, and I remember my sister ripping the cover off that book and being so bummed. And I know it probably wasn't a big deal. It probably was like damn near worthless.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being so bummed about that book losing its cover.
Mm-hmm.
I like it's in my collection, and I look at it sometimes and I just like put it back and just keep going.
Oh, never mind. This comic has fallen in value considerably. Apparently, X-Men issue #2 is only $4,500. At one point, in like the 90s, it was like 30 or 40 grand. So yeah, I assumed it went up much higher.
Apparently did not. So I had this comic when I was a kid.
Oh, I have that in my collection right now.
This is the most random thing
oh my god!
I've ever seen.
This is something Ian would have as a kid in his collection. I could see that.
It existed somewhere, and I bought it, or I was at a garage sale, you know, as you do, and it was just, hey, this is a comic book, so I will own it. This is a comic called Super Pro. It is an official NFL comic book where they take from football hero to superhero.
Mm-hmm.
This issue is called Super Pro Goes Wild.
I think it lasted 4 issues, maybe.
I don't know. He had some team ups with. There was a Spider-Man cover. He was with Captain America at one point. I think it lasted longer than we give it credit for, but it was not good. If you had any doubts,
pretty terrible.
And the tie-ins were terrible. No. Yeah, I guess I find myself gravitating towards indie comics now rather than, you know, Marvel, DC, because there's always some big event or stuff happening, and it always feels like there's never a good time to jump in anymore, even though they reboot everything every 2 years. Even then, it still feels like, well, okay, but what happened before the reboot? You know what I mean? Like, what do I need to know why Miles Morales is in the same universe as Peter Parker now?
I mean, that's a really good point. I found myself, you know, like I said just the other day, I was browsing through the comic shop, and I knew I was going to get like some X-Men stuff, some Ninja Turtle stuff. That's the ongoing stuff that I get. I knew I wasn't going to get Video Witch #2 because Enzo hasn't finished his pages from last I talked to him. But I still went and looked at that empty spot on the wall and was pretty upset. And then I found myself just browsing through and, picking up just some like oddball stuff that I was like, that could be fun. I think there's one ongoing wrestling comic book that's pretty fun, and I picked up another one that I haven't read it yet. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like actually it's right behind me. I could probably check, but it's like hell is a like the four sides of hell or something like that. And it was a larger book, and I was like, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll grab that.
Are you reading Do a Powerbomb?
Yes, I haven't. Well, I haven't started it. I have like 3 or 4 I have all of them. I should have. Like,
you know who fucking writes and does the art for that book? Daniel Warren Johnson. Idea. Same dude did fucking Murder Falcon.
Hey, nice.
Yeah,
he does have good art.
It's amazing. His art style is so good.
Yeah. So I haven't started that yet, but
me neither. I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. We should make that like homework.
Does it look like this?
We start it. Oh, God damn it. Here we are.
No, we came back. No.
I got it in under the wire.
Yep. Pulled it right in. It was Wombo art, everybody. It was wrestling superheroes.
I assume everybody's got it.
Yeah. I just wanted to,
If this is your first foray into the Marvel Snap podcast.
Well, that's the end of this one. We've come full circle. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say or do.
I do want to share this one.
It's very true. Check us out on Hive.
Yeah, check us out on Hive. Anyone else? Anyone else got any quips, one-liners?
No, but that one I just sent's really good. It's a guy with a bust of himself as his head.
Oh, that's what that is.
That does appear to be what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what is this?
Inconvenient.
Yeah.
I just want a chest up version of myself from my head up.
But wouldn't that one also need to have a chest up version of itself as his head? Don't we get into like a nesting doll situation?
Oh yeah.
What's eating like?
It's real small.
It's like
little bites.
It's like Alien feeding the tiny mouth.
I mean, I guess on that note, we probably shouldn't.
We gotta leave that just little bit of silence in there. A little bit of like, well
yeah.
we fucked this one up.
This is why we don't let John. We just need to figure out how to shut John's browser while he's in here.
He probably still had some of those tabs open from last time.
Oh, absolutely. I never closed any of my tabs.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Listen to our old shows. You'll figure it out real quick.
It's a trouble bet.
All right, everyone. So thank you again for listening to another episode of Funbalanced, which is sometimes a Marvel Snap podcast. Check us out on Hive. We're gonna. I guess I now had to make one, right? There has to be one on there now. Is that like an official thing? No, just follow. Find Jay and I. John, are you on Hive yet?
No. I barely use Twitter. Why would I use a different thing that's going to be worse than Twitter?
I just need to have an account somewhere that I'll barely use in the future. I just have to have it. It's just so it's there.
I mean, the problem is, like, half the people are going to Hive, half are going to Mastodon. Mastodon's like Discord, except worse.
It is.
Hive is just...
Mastodons, if Discord could talk to each other.
Yeah. Which fixes some of my issues, because I don't have to join 10,000 Discords, but...
It's buried in.
It's time we live in.
It's a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Twitter's just... I mean, we all know. Fucking, you know what Twitter is. You know what it's like. You know what it's doing.
Yeah, it's bad.
Everyone knows at this point.
Yeah.
It's the only thing fucking people are talking about on Twitter.
It's a weird place to talk about not liking something is on that thing.
Yeah.
I really hate it here.
Yeah, it's like the Titanic going down, and you're just like, you know what? This is all I want to talk about now.
Right, and you don't want to jump off yet. You want to see the band finish their set.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to do.
They got a couple more songs. They haven't played their best song yet.
The ice cream machine's still working. I don't know if that's a thing you guys ever been on a cruise, but they have really good ice cream.
It's not something I would have expected.
Yeah, me either. Didn't expect it. Didn't see it coming. But while I was walking back to my room, one in each hand.
Did you know that the people who make the ice cream machines for McDonald's are suing McDonald's because they're like, no, listen, ice cream machine work. You're just lying.
Yeah. No, they do that for real. Like it was.
But you're blaming all your shit on us.
Ashley really wanted those Halloween buckets. You know, like the pails we used to get like as kids to go trick or treating with or whatever that McDonald's had.
Yeah.
She wanted all of those for some reason. She's like, I have to have them. So she'd been going to McDonald's and like she just get the thing or whatever. And she got 2 and she was waiting on the last one. And she's like, oh, we're buying McDonald's. You know, we're going on a little bit of a long trip. Let's just grab like the 4-piece nugget and whatever. Okay, cool. And she asks if they have it. And they say, no, sorry, we're all out. And she goes, okay. Move up to the next window. Just got like the 4-count nugget or whatever. And moved up to the next window. They literally handed the thing she asked for out the window to the person in front of them.
Oh, that's rough.
And she's like, when she got to the window, she's like, what the hell? And the lady's like, no, I'll get you one. And she just gave us one. So still got it, but it is, that's what they do.
Yeah,
straight up what they do.
We went and bought one and they're trash now, but I just sent a picture.
Oh, they are.
I had 3D printed these for my partner because they really wanted some, so I 3D printed a little tiny one, so we have like 2-inch diameter McDonald's Halloween buckets to decorate with.
How would you like to store your one Skittle?
Nobody stores anything with them. You get that shit to display.
That was the point.
No. Yeah, you trick or treat with them once, but all the adults aren't getting them to trick or treat or for their kids to trick or treat with. They're getting to put around their house.
So these are the ones that you printed?
No, those are some other ones that someone's selling on eBay. I just was trying to find pictures. But yeah, I 3D printed those. It took like 3 or 4 hours, and then she painted them, and we're all set.
We're gonna have to talk. I need to get into this 3D printing game.
I've been real angry at mine the last few days, but I think I finally figured out the problem with it. So,
is it? Good. Did you turn it off, turn it back on again?
Oh, I did that a lot. I did everything, and I was changing the extruder nozzle, and I was going to tighten it, and like the whole extruder moved, and I was like, that's not supposed to move, and so like the bolts that were holding the extruder in were loose. So it would, and my problem was that stuff wasn't sticking to the build plate. So I spent like 4 days trying to troubleshoot that. But what was happening is it was loose and it would knock the print and then tear it off the build plate. But I'd never catch that happening. So it just looked like things were falling off the build plate. So sometimes there has. It is still not as much. I mean, if you've ever bought a printer in the last like 40 years, you know that home printing still sucks. 3D printing is like that, except worse.
Yeah, but
you're not
like that, but in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, it's terrible, but I don't know. You see people make some really sick stuff, though.
Oh, yeah. No, once you get them working, they're generally okay a lot of the time. But, like, imagine
Does your filament go bad? Does your filament have an expiration date?
No, I've never had a problem with that.
Here, one up on printers in that one.
Yeah.
Is it the models? Are the models just kind of shitty and then they print kind of shitty?
Well, no, it's just that the technology is still like not perfect because you're physically laying down lines of stuff. So any kind of variation or problem just ends up worse. And some people do complain about like because plastic is hygroscopic, if you're in a moist area, it will absorb moisture from the air and have problems printing.
OJ.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah, so if you got a real moist room, but you can. I mean, if you store it. Like a lot of people just store it in a airtight bin with some desiccant in it, and that's fine. And resin printers, like if you want to do really detailed stuff, they're a little bit more reliable and easy to use. But like, imagine if you bought a printer from HP and they just sent you a box of parts, and they're like, "Here you go, here's your new printer."
Yeah.
Well, after putting together all this baby furniture, that's pretty much what my last month has been.
Although,
here's a box of pieces. Good luck.
I mean,
the hardware's shitty and none of the holes are drilled.
The last one I bought was only 4 bolts and like 3 parts, so it was pretty easy to put together.
That's pretty easy.
But some of my earlier ones were just a box of parts, and good luck. And the prices are down. Like for Black Friday, you can buy a nice printer for like $300. but you just have to be prepared to spend some time learning how to fix things.
All right, you brought me back. See, you broke me down.
Yeah.
You beat me down.
And I build you back up.
And then you swung it back around. Yeah.
You just had to figure out how to not live in the moistest state.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I'll put it in a box. Just put it in a box and get all those, anything you've bought, you have those, those do not eat packets. Just throw all of those in there in that box, and then you're good.
Have those in my pants pockets right now. It's moist around here. On that note, I don't see any better way to end
all right,
this.
this time, let's try it again. Thanks for listening to Funbalanced. Check us out on the internet, wherever your socials are Titanicing themselves. I am Ian, and for Jay and John, we will see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Mullet Cop. After a near-death experience, Fred, a mall cop, goes undercover as a manager at an all-you-can-eat buffet with the help of his coworkers and supercomputer/microwave called Mid-Mall Industries. 2000. He takes on gangs and corporate thugs. This series is episodic with Fred and his coworkers taking off diff.